World War I, also known as the Great War, lasted from 1914 to 1918 and saw a massive development in military technology and tactics. One of the biggest technological innovations was the development of new weapons, which had a profound impact on the battlefield. The first major development in weaponry was the introduction of machine guns, which allowed soldiers to fire hundreds of rounds in one violent sweep and decimate enemy lines. Poison gas, which had never before been used in warfare, was also introduced and became a widespread weapon on the battlefield. Tanks, which had been developed as a means of breaking through enemy trenches, also made their debut. Artillery also saw major improvements, with larger caliber guns and longer ranges being developed. Air power also became an increasingly important aspect of the war, with planes being used for reconnaissance, bombing, and even dogfighting. Submarines also played a role in the war, with both sides using them to attack enemy shipping. Despite these technological advancements, the war was characterized by a brutal stalemate, with neither side able to gain a significant advantage. The trench warfare, which became the hallmark of the war, was made possible by the massive firepower of the new weapons, which prevented either side from making a decisive breakthrough. World War I saw a massive development in military technology, particularly in the area of weaponry. These innovations had a profound impact on the battlefield and helped to shape the course of the war. The First World War officially ended on November 11, 1918, with the signing of the armistice between the Allies and Germany. The end of the war saw an array of weapons developed during the conflict being retired, with many countries scrambling to find ways to either get rid of or repurpose the surplus weapons. The harsh realities of trench warfare meant that many of the traditional forms of combat, such as cavalry charges, had become obsolete, and the focus was on creating new forms of weaponry. The development of the tank and aircraft also transformed the face of warfare, with many nations looking to incorporate these innovations into their military strategies. The widespread use of gas warfare was also a notable development of the conflict, with chemical weapons being used for the first time on a large scale in combat. In the aftermath of the First World War, many countries demobilized their armies and began the process of disarmament. The League of Nations was formed with the aim of preventing future wars, and many countries signed treaties to reduce the size of their military and limit the development of certain types of weapons. However, the disarmament process was not universally successful, and many countries continued to develop and produce weapons in secret, laying the foundations for the Second World War. The years between the end of World War I and the start of World War II were a period of political and military upheaval. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, officially ended the First World War, but it also imposed strict demands and penalties on Germany, including disarmament and reduced military capabilities. In addition, various territories and colonies were rearranged as a result of the treaty, leading to tensions between various countries. The League of Nations was established to promote international cooperation, but many countries, including Germany and Italy, began to pursue their own nationalistic goals. During this time, the weapons and tactics developed during the First World War continued to play a role in international conflict. For example, tanks and aircraft were used in the Russian Civil War and the Polish-Soviet War. In Spain, the Spanish Civil War saw the use of modern tactics and technology, such as bombing and air support, that would become a hallmark of World War II. Additionally, the 1930s saw the rise of totalitarian regimes in Germany, Italy, and Japan, who rapidly rearmed and began to threaten international peace. The years between World War I and II were characterized by political unrest and military conflict, and the weapons and tactics developed during the First World War continued to play a role in these events. By the time World War II broke out, air power had become a critical aspect of modern warfare and would play a major role in the conflict. The lessons learned from the First World War and the conflicts between the two wars were put into practice at the beginning of World War II. The German invasion of Poland in September 1939 marked the start of the Second Conflict, and the tactics used in the invasion were heavily influenced by those developed during the previous conflict. The use of tanks, air power, and coordinated infantry assaults proved to be a highly effective combination and would go on to define the early stages of the Second World War. The German army's rapid conquest of France in 1940 was a testament to the effectiveness of the tactics developed in the years between the two wars. In conclusion, the development of weapons and tactics during World War I continued to shape the course of modern warfare in the years leading up to the Second World War. The lessons learned in the first conflict, as well as in the conflicts between the two wars, would go on to shape the strategy of the Second World War. The use of tanks, air power, and coordinated infantry assaults would prove to be key in the early stages of the conflict, as the German army rapidly conquered much of Europe.